Oh, here we are. Okay, say hi to Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Okay. So, did you have a good week this week?
Yep.
Now, do you remember that we went to the biosphere?
Uh-huh.
Oh, and I'll just move this over so that you're not looking at the side. You're looking right at the lens, because that's Linda right there. Okay, so now, what do you remember about the biosphere?
Those keychains.
Oh, the keychains? You really like them?
Uh-huh.
Which ones did they have there?
Like a cactus one.
Oh, nice. So you remember most the keychains and the cactus. Now, what was your favorite? Do you remember going inside the big rooms, the big structures, and seeing all the different, the desert? Remember how hot the rainforest was?
Mhm.
And remember how big the ocean was?
Mhm.
Wasn't that nice?
Yeah.
What do you remember about that? What do you remember touching in there?
Those leaves.
Which ones?
Um,
The ones on the tree or on the ground?
on the ground.
Oh, were they all dry and crunchy?
Uh-huh.
Were they big or small?
Big.
Ooh, big crunchy leaves. Yeah, those were crunchy, weren't they? They were on the side of the path. And did you want to take one home?
Yeah.
Oh, but we had to leave everything there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And what did you wonder about when we were there? Did you have any questions?
I did, but I was too a little shy.
Oh, no, not questions that you had to ask them, but questions that you had inside your brain. Like, what were your observations while you were there?
That everyone, everything is so cool and stuff.
Did you think that it was neat that the people would live in there and take care of that whole big area?
Uh-huh.
Would you like to live in that place?
Yeah.
You would?
Mhm.
We saw the living quarters of some of the people that lived there, and they had a little tiny living room and a little tiny bedroom, and it was 2 floors, right?
Mhm.
Do you remember going inside the lung and it pushed us out as we walked in and then sucked us in as we walked into the big room?
Mhm.
Do you remember how echoey it was?
Mhm.
Why is it so echoey?
I don't know.
It was a big round room, so all of our sound vibrated off the walls.
Oh.
Wasn't that neat?
Uh-huh.
Because everything that we were saying was so loud and echoey, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Now, how did you feel about being inside of the biosphere? Did you feel like, oh, if I got stuck in here, I'd be scared? Or did you think, wow, this is a giant greenhouse, it's so cool? What did you think?
I think, wow, this is a giant greenhouse.
Yeah. Were you happy that Mommy and Daddy were there?
Uh-huh.
Would you ever go there by yourself?
No.
No. And so afterwards, when we were researching about the biosphere, remember how we looked up how many years they were in there? How many years were those guys in there?
I don't know.
Do you remember? Was it 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years?
3.
2 years. It was 2 years. They were in there for 2 years. And how many scientists lived in there? Do you remember? It was either 3, 6, or 8.
6.
Oh, it was 8. It was 8 people that lived in there. 4 men and 4 women. And, okay, so do you remember touching anything else inside of there?
Uh-huh.
What?
Like sand.
Because there was a desert part in there, wasn't there?
Mhm.
It was a desert, and it was very dry.
Mhm.
was lots of sand. Do you remember what kind of birds were in there? What kind of birds did we see? Did they just go tweet tweet? Yeah, I don't think there were any other road runners. But when I saw Leilani in there, she was so excited to run down the path because there was a marked path, and she was excited just to run down and run back. And you were very careful not to go on the other side of the path, weren't you? You wanted to stay safe and make your observations about the inside of the biosphere, but not get too carried away and too rambunctious. And that was very good, because that's very respectful. That's why they have that path there. Isn't that good? Isn't that good that you did that? How did you feel inside of the rainforest?
I liked it.
Was it very warm?
Like there's a big ocean and boats.
Yeah, there was a boat. Did you like the under the ocean part of it, the underwater part?
It was like these pretend fishies in there.
Yeah.
And on the wall and
Yep.
pretend brains.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me see if I have any other things. Now, did you did you have any other questions? Remember the thing with the balls and the evaporation? What did that teach you? It taught us that if we take a ball, and what did you do with it?
You followed it.
You put it in the hose, right? You put it in the tube, and then where did the ball go?
Into the water.
So it went up, 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 and then it dropped over, and then just like water does, it fell down like rain, right? So if we have a wet towel and we hang it on the back of a chair overnight, and it's dry in the morning, where did the water go?
It goed on.
Does it float up just like those ping pong balls? Does it float up and then it eventually goes into the clouds?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes into the clouds. And then what do the clouds do once they get full?
It rains.
That's right, it rains. And then where does the rain go?
It goes on the ground and then it dries and then it goes up the clouds again.
Yeah, like the rain, some of it goes on the ground, some of it goes into the lake. And then the lake fills up, and then we have our drinking water comes out of the lake, doesn't it? And so we fill up our drinking water. So wasn't that neat how that described, how it really showed how evaporation works, didn't it? Okay, so do you have anything else to say, Linda? And
yeah.
Leilani's had lots of exercise time this week too, and we've been showing her numbers on the on the clock, asking her how much time is left on the drive and how much is left on the trip, and how many miles are we traveling, and you know pretty much what the time means now, don't you? So if we're driving for an hour and we take a half an hour rest stop, then that hour of travel turns into an hour and a half, right? Yeah. So we've been adding and subtracting that way and figuring out things, and yeah. Do you want to say anything else to Linda? Okay, go ahead.
Linda, I got some keychains, and one is an owl and a sparkly keychain, and it's a key, and I got an Elsa keychain. I think that's all, but I don't know if that's all.
Well, maybe if you meet up with Linda, you can show her. But I don't know if we're meeting up.
But is she alive?
Linda? Yeah, remember I read you Linda's, remember how last week we sent in a video of you? And then Linda wrote back all those things, remember? And I showed you those games that she suggested we play. Do you remember that? Yeah, so that's Linda writing all that stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's going to see this video too.
Oh.
That's why we say hi to Linda. Okay, do you want to say goodbye?
Bye, Linda.
Okay, bye-bye. See you next week.